In this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television, the 50th anniversary celebrations of Cameroon's reunification has finally taken place in the Southwest Regional Headquarters of Buea. The President of the Republic of Cameroon has assured Cameroonians that all is well in the transport, health, and also the educational sectors in the country. But some party officials have said that the speech of Mr. Biya was void of concrete facts. We get their reactions in this edition of the Primetime Newscast. And we also get to know why some opposition political parties are indifferent as far as the reunification celebrations are concerned. And a mother abandons a lifeless baby in a dustbin. That was here in the economic capital, Douala. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. We begin right away in the Southwest Regional Headquarters of Buea. The President of the Republic of Cameroon has called on Cameroonians to preserve and conserve national unity. He also urged the youth not to adhere to forces that could tamper with the unity of the country. President Paul Biya was speaking today in Buea while presiding over the celebration of the country's 50 years of reunification. For Hansen Chanji was very keen on the speech of the head of state today and compiled the following report.
At long last, here we are in Buea.
Before addressing thousands of Cameroonians gathered at Bongo Square in Buea, President Paul Biya recognized that the celebration is coming years behind schedule.
As the English people say, better late than never.
The president took time to deliver his salutation in English,
the town of legendary hospitality,
and the heart of the message in French.
Mes chers compatriotes,
Paul Biya sees Buea as the bedrock of reunification and did not fail to recognize those who fought endlessly in the reunification process. He says despite the civil war and economic crisis that hit the country, it has made great strides towards national unity and realization of some major projects. He stressed on the fact that before independence, areas such as education, health, economy, and transport sector were far behind, but 53 years after, Mr. Biya thinks Cameroon is moving on the right path. The president says education has witnessed a tremendous increase and is now at 90% with creation of 8 state universities and thousands of government primary and secondary schools. In the health sector, President Biya says before independence, Cameroon had just 555 public hospitals, but now it has over 2,260 hospitals. Mr. Biya equally commended efforts made at improving the transport sector in Cameroon, recognizing the role of airport and seaport. He equally hailed the economic sector, saying the presence of thousands of enterprises has improved on the living conditions of the people. The head of state says the existence of the Senate, the National Assembly, and eminent putting in place of the Constitutional Council, Cameroon has attained its goal. He called on security forces to work hard in guaranteeing territorial integrity. Mr. Biya ended his speech by calling on the youth to keep these things jealously and avoid associating with forces that could tamper unity. In all, he called on all Cameroonians to preserve and conserve national unity, and for the very first time, he tuned the national anthem of Cameroon that was sung by all.
The reunification celebration coming 3 years after it was announced, and just to note that it was announced in the year 2009, precisely in December 31st. But as the President of the Republic has said it himself, later or better be late than never. And just to note that observably at the Bongo Square, that was in the Southwest Regional Headquarters of Buea, was the absence of the principal opposition political party, that is the chairman of the Social Democratic Front. We shall be coming back to that. In a subsequent newscast, meantime, some opposition party officials here in the economic capital Douala have said the speech of the head of state to Cameroonians in Buea today was empty and void of concrete facts. They said that Mr. Biya gave the impression that he had a very little mastery of the country's history. They were reacting as they gathered today at the UDX Square for the reunification celebrations. Jacques Kwekinge tells us more.
The celebration of the 50th anniversary of the reunification of Cameroon in Douala was concentrated on two main highlights. First, the relay of the speech of the head of state at the UDX Square, which, despite the technical hitches from the sound system, was listened to with keen attention from the administrative, military, religious, and traditional authorities present at the ceremonial ground. The population at the UDX Square present for the ceremony listened keenly to the president's speech and joined him in singing the national anthem at the end of his allocution. Then came the march past, starting with the military, and then the civilian march past with the mascot of some 50 young men and women dressed in the national colors, representing 50 years of reunification of Cameroon. The civilian march past then included primary, secondary, and higher institutions of learning, and then political parties. The 50th anniversary speech of the head of state was highly appreciated by a guest of the celebration at the UDX Square.
Il a évoqué les héros, ce qui est très bon pour la construction d'une nation, mais malheureusement il n'a cité aucun nom.
The 50th anniversary celebration of the unification of Cameroon is just a way forward.
The future is coming. The next is coming. Our children now are going in the English class and French class. So today, when you talk to a small boy of a small girl of
the 50th anniversary of the unification of Cameroon has finally gone down to the annals of history of Cameroon, and the younger generation that took part in these historic celebrations will be the ones to testify tomorrow that there was once a 50th anniversary celebration of the unification of Cameroon on the 20th of February 2014.
Now, the reunification celebrations in Yaoundé was presided over by the Central Regional Governor, and the ceremony was marked by the civilian march past as well as those of the military, as we could also see on our screens. That was what took place here in the economic capital, Douala. Now, before today's ceremony was the inauguration of the reunification monument that was in Buea by Mr. Biya himself. A reporter on special assignment in Buea and Befokwa witnessed the ceremony and compiled the following report.
Future generations will forever be reminded of the 50th anniversary of Cameroon's reunification and the priority President Biya vested in being present in Buea to inaugurate the 162-ton monument dedicated to enshrining the history of the Republic. The monument, depicting the 50th anniversary logo of reunification and independence, is made of fiberglass, fixed with a round 5.4-meter diameter form to represent planet Earth, with Cameroon at the center of the world. Surrounding the monument, erected below the Southwest Regional Governor's office, are 10 round pillars ranging from 1.3 meters to a large 7-meter pillar, all symbolizing Cameroon's power, dynamic growth, emergence, and socio-cultural heritage.
At the center, the coat of arms and a few symbols of Cameroon. So actually, it's a point of reunification for us in this country. It's actually a peace to live for.
2 hands are placed on either side of Cameroon, representing the divine protection the country receives, shielding its unity from disintegration, and further saving the fatherland from any external forces that would usurp its internal peace. The image of peace is further represented on the emblem, with a dove hovering above the geographical depiction of Cameroon on the logo. President Biya, giving his inaugural speech of the 50th anniversary monument of reunification and independence, was keen to reiterate that it testifies the Republic of Cameroon is indivisible. With the rich cultural diversity of the Republic, in its English and French heritage, the unveiling of the monument during the 50th anniversary reunification celebrations concretizes the unitary ideology of the current state.
Now, over 1,000 student lawyers answered present at a preparatory seminar ahead of the Bar Council exams scheduled to take place from February 22, 2014. The seminar, which started yesterday in Yaoundé, is aimed at preparing candidates for the examinations, and it should be noted that it started yesterday in the nation's capital and will be ending today. But organizers of the seminar say attending the seminar is no guarantee of success, though it would serve as a guideline or tips for the students that would take part in the exams. Now, the lifeless body of a baby was discovered early in this morning. That was precisely at Casino roundabout in the New Bell neighborhood here in the city of Douala. Sources said that the baby was abandoned by the mother, whose identity is yet to be known. The order of the baby caught the attention of passers-by, or a passerby who actually alerted the population. Security forces have opened investigations. Now, today was being observed worldwide as the International Day for the Promotion of Social Justice. The question is whether the rights of every Cameroonians are equal, irrespective of social differences. That might not be the case in some parts of the city of Douala, where people of lower social status could be seen living alongside those with very high living standards. Pamela Ndukong made the observation at the Bona Prison neighborhood here in the city of Douala and compiled the following report.
In the Bona Prison neighborhood, the gap between people of the higher and lower status is glaring. Low-income earners reside at Gondo 1. Houses here are haphazardly constructed, dirty, incomplete and unkempt. Inhabitants say life here is very uncomfortable, especially at night falls, as they fight with mosquitoes that breed in the many standing water. They feel their poverty more during blackouts when they sleep in darkness, but see people having lights not far from their homes. The quarterhead tells us that his locals have a great problem in having potable water, thus they drink water from very doubtful sources. Not far from the neighborhood, lots of other people live in great affluence, beautifully constructed fenced houses, providing a comfortable and secured environment for its occupants. Some locals of the Gondo neighborhood acclaim that they feel frustrated seeing others live well while they lavish in poverty. The gap between the rich and the poor was the underlying factor for the institution of the World Day of Social Justice. Since 2007, the United Nations is fighting to uphold the principle of social justice by removing barriers that people face because of gender, age, race, religion, and culture.
Now, agricultural output would soon witness an increase to farmers in Melong, that's in the Mongo division of Cameroon. The promise by the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development was during the handing over of some agricultural equipment to farmers in that part of the country. Jacques Ekekinge tells us more.
It was on board a tractor that the Minister of Agriculture, Simi Minye, launched the agricultural season in the town of Melong in the Mongo division. The launching ceremony took the minister to one of the biggest corporation plantations in Melong with more than 4,000 members, and also to their warehouse where bags of their recent harvest had been stored. Speaking during the ceremony, the board chair of the corporation enumerated some problems faced by the agricultural sector in this part of the country and also proposed possible solutions that could ameliorate the sector. The Minister for Agriculture also visited a coffee processing unit owned by the corporation, where the aging nature of the machines have affected productivity. Minister Simi Minye brought some encouragement to these farmers by offering them 2 tractors, a fertilizer spraying machine, and other working tools. While opening the ceremony at the Melong ceremonial ground, the mayor, Jean Kwete, enumerated problems faced by farmers in the municipalities, ranging from financial assistance, lack of fertilizers, and the abandonment of plantations. The minister told the population that he had taken note of their plight and promised the training of farmers to ameliorate the sector. Meanwhile, some 21 common initiative groups received gifts, and also the management staff of the corporation received 36 motorbikes and 4 pickups to facilitate their jobs.
And that does it for this segment of the news. Up next is Talking Point. The head of state has finally fulfilled his promise to Cameroonians. He announced 3 years ago that the reunification celebrations were going to take place in the Southwest Regional Headquarters of Buea, and today it finally took place. But he said that no matter how long it took, it is better late than never. Guest tonight is a member of the UPC political party. Good evening to you, Mr. Bakeme Charles. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me to intervene in your television.
Just to know that you are a member of the steering committee of the UPC political party, did you take part in the reunification celebrations today?
No, we didn't take part, but we would like to take part, but we are excluded because there is a great division between the UPC, let us say, wanted by the regime in place. So there is a UPC which collaborates with the government. When there is an occasion like this one, they invite that UPC, and we are excluded.
This is a national event, of course, and it doesn't matter whether your party is invited, taking into consideration the role that the UPC political party in particular participated as far as the country's reunification is concerned.
Of course.
Does it take your invitation to participate in such a national event?
Of course. You know, there are responsible people in this country. People, let us say, the government and let us say the officials of this country. They organize, they invite who they want, and they don't invite who they don't want.
Are you giving the impression that it's an issue of the ruling government? The reunification celebration, is it an affair of the CPDM party?
No, no.
That you have to be invited by the government, or you have to be invited by the regime?
Yeah, of course. Well, not, for example, to March Pass. You cannot go if you are not invited. You cannot take part in any festivity if you are not invited. But we abide with, let us say, the circumstances of the country, like reunification, because this falls in lines with our founding fathers. Our founding fathers were longing for a genuine independence of Cameroon, a genuine unification of Cameroon, and the improvement of the standard of living of Cameroonians. But the independence given to Cameroon is not a genuine one, because those who govern Cameroon are puppets teleguided by France. The unification, as the UPC wants, was to reunite all the territories governed by the Germans before the First World War. But there is one part which is still with Nigeria, and the standard of living of Cameroonians. Yeah, the British Northern Cameroons.
But they choose to integrate with Nigeria.
Well, you know, as fraudulent elections are always organized in this territory, all things were fraudulent in accordance with the United Nations and the superpowers who were organizing their things. But in a truly manner, all Cameroonians, before, let us say, the division between Great Britain and Cameroon, wanted to come back together before the First World War.
Okay, why is the UPC party, the party in which you belong, why are you not participating in the reunification celebrations? Is it because it is not legal, or it's not the reunification celebrations did not actually take place, or it's because it's not properly being carried out?
Yes, it was not properly carried out because, let us say, on the 1st of October 1961, West Cameroon got its independence on the same day, while negotiating in Fumban, they were still under domination of Great Britain. So they had not sovereignty to negotiate with great freedom with East Cameroon. So let us say Cameroon puppets negotiated with Great Britain and imposed their decisions to Cameroonians. This is
but
what I can tell you.
The Cameroonians are those who voted.
Voted, well, who were those who were, let us say, controlling votes or declaring the results? We don't know. You may vote, but you don't know what happens after the votes. You may vote and, let us say, as they steal your vote and they give it wherever they want.
So what you are trying to say is what happened in Buea today is actually out of place?
No, it is not out of place, but it is to be improved. Let us say
So what can be done to improve?
What can be done to improve is that all Cameroonians must be at ease in their country. They must eat when they are hungry. They may be treated when they are ill, and they may enjoy, let us say, goodness of life as a genuine citizen may do in some other countries. So we are fighting against poverty. They say fighting against poverty, but poverty is still, let us say, smashing people. So everything is to be done, but it is what the president said. Theoretically, it is normal, it is perfect, but in practice, this is completely the contrary of what it is said. So in reality, there is wretchedness, there is corruption, they're all evils. So we want every Cameroonian to consider this country as his own, to behave like, not like a mercenary, but like a genuine citizen who wants his country to be a great country among the countries of the world. But this is not the case. We have puppets who are working for the foreigners. This is all. This is what is, let us say, is shocking Cameroonians, and everybody who has a post is calculating his own interest. But his own interest, why? Because he is dictated by foreigners. We are not independent. Reunification, yes, but not as our founding fathers was dreaming of, but as it is wanted by the superpowers in order to exploit us more.
And so that is what the UPC party is fighting against.
Yes, we are still fighting against it.
Very well then. Now, you actually talked about the reunification date that took place in the country was on the 1st of October 1961.
Yes.
For the date to be fixed on the 20th of February. Is it having its place? Is it a similar significance?
Well, I don't see any significance. But I may say it is because
it doesn't matter at all.
From the agenda of the head of state, but there is nothing explaining the date of the 20th of February to celebrate the unification or reunification. But, you know, you have to know that, first of all, there was the reunification of Cameroon on the 1st of October 1961. The unification of Cameroon on the 20th of May 1972. But today, what are we celebrating? Reunification, unification, we don't know. This is a great confusion among let us say, the term.
You tell Cameroonians, what are we celebrating today? You don't know as well. Are you
well,
confused?
We are confused, but as they told us, it is reunification. Is it what they told? Well, it is confusion in my...
celebrations 50 years after.
Well, okay, but, you know, it would have been better on the 1st of October. It would be let us say, reflecting the reality of the date. But on the 20th of February, well, it is according to the agenda of the head of state. Let us recognize that. The head of state is busy, he has his agenda, it's according to his agenda.
Busy Cameroonians will have to wait for him to fix any ordinary date for the reunification celebration.
Perhaps this is the real problem. But let us say, in order to respect the very date, it would have been better on the 1st of October.
Probably the UPC party would have organized something, even within your party.
Of course, let us say every day the UPC is following how things are evolving in this country. We are not aside, but we are marginalized.
But you didn't participate today.
I told you that we were not invited. If they invited us, let us say the party would have taken a stand. But we were not invited. We are ignored. We are marginalized. This is our problem in this country. They want a UPC which is, let us say, collaborating with the government, with the UPC, with the CPDM, which is applying, you know, the other UPC signed some agreements of government with the CPDM. But what our founding fathers said was not to...
Is it really deserving, the manner in which you see that your political party is being treated? Is it deserving as far as the role that the UPC party played in the country's reunification is concerned?
Yeah, of course. Yes, we think that what we are...
Are you given proper treatment? Are you being treated as deserved?
No, we are not, of course. We are not treated as we deserve. No. But our ideal is expressed. And all Cameroonians agree with us. And they know that what we are pledging is, if realized, will ensure, let us say, the goodness and the welfare of all Cameroonians. Now, the way it is done now, it is not...
Taking a look at the level of mobilization of Cameroonians across the national territory, we know that activities were equally ongoing in all the 10 regions of Cameroon. Can you say that Cameroonians really felt or they were proud of the celebration of the country's reunification 50 years after?
Well, you know, a lot of Cameroonians do not understand really the current of things. When they see something, they mobilize. But if you ask Cameroonians what they think or what they understand by this or that, they will not tell you. There is a, let us say, a meeting somewhere, they go and drink beer, and of course. But to say, let us say, the deepness of the policy or of the objectives of Cameroonians, a lot of Cameroonians do not know. Really Cameroonians are not politically trained. It is wanted by the regime.
Now, just a few minutes before we go to the speech of the head of state today in Buea, your impression as far as his speech was concerned?
Yes, the speech of the president
Are you satisfied?
Satisfied, well...
Say the things you wanted to hear?
Yes,
hear, rather.
Everything the president says is good, but in practice, in application, what is done is completely different. But himself is, we can say, the matter of, let us say, of stiffness. He does not, let us say, give an impetus to, let us say, for the government to move and to work. He says, but when you look in practice, there is no change. What he said is normal for a head of state to ensure his people. Yeah. But in practice, you will find that what he said were only words, but in practice, nothing will be applied. Thank you so much, Mr. Charles,
for joining us tonight on Talking Point. We hope to have you some other time again.
Okay, thank you.
So, viewers, thank you so much for joining us in this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinox Television. Happy reunifications of Cameroon Day celebrations. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs. Good evening to you once again.